high school.
Is Giorgio Moroder making this? All right, that's the weirdest introduction we've ever had. Giorgio Moroder, thank you very much for that sample. And if I could just get a little bit more lens flare, we could completely have a seizure before we begin. My name is Bruce, and here's. Can you hear me?
I can't. I went deaf.
Fuck.
I can't see any color. What did that do to me? Oh wait, I couldn't see any color beforehand.
Do I have to be
Thanks,
playing
Jeremy.
this game all night? Oh man. Okay.
So with us tonight, Jade is out from our usual group. Connell is taking. Oh wait, Baron's getting his eject button ready. We have a special guest tonight. One of the best GMs, and if you haven't watched his Star Trek, his recurring Star Trek stream on a weekly basis, you're missing out, because he really does bring a nice little feeling that this is something that Roddenberry would want to watch or partake in. It's different, unlike most Star Trek live plays. Give it up for Bear, the Gen X GM. All right, thanks. With us is Kai, the Crafting Gamer, Connell, and Baron G-Rock. I'm going to be on mute for just a moment.
What? All right. A second here.
And he leaves us with the madhouse.
Of course.
No, it's when Garrett's not here or Jade, it becomes a madhouse, because those two schmucks unfortunately have the ability to keep us in line.
So I did prepare a few things here. So and basically what we're going to be looking at is kind of GMing past, railroading. Some of the things that we can do to, not necessarily to basically give our players a little bit more freedom within the world that we play in, and also look at different ideas on how, even if you start out railroading, how you can ease that back, or, kind of keep that from happening. I know from personal experience that, even some modules have even had, a straight up railroad. If looking at, the Second Darkness, the last book of that series from Paizo, that literally it was go into a room, fight guys, turn around, rinse and repeat. It was the exact same fights almost over and over and over again. And how to, basically, add a little bit more flair, keep your players, definitely there, and keep them engaged. So let's start out with the first question here, and we'll start with Crafting Gamer here. What effect does railroading have on player engagement?
I actually wouldn't know. I kind of do, but not very well. The one time I tried a railroad, it failed miserably.
Okay, well, tell us about that then.
Well, I was trying to do an adventure from the movie Waxwork. And so I was trying to follow the movie as close as I could. The players, pretty much not knowing that that's what I was doing, which probably didn't help, ended up basically saying, "Screw this! We're not having any fun. We can't do anything we want to do." Because I was trying to keep them in the waxwork where all the bad guys were, and at least one of them to go through the painting, to go through the exhibits, but none of them wanted to get anywhere near the exhibits because they all had a bad feeling about like what the fuck is he trying to do. So I found for me personally, railroading just causes the players to go, yeah, that's exactly what we're not going to do.
Okay, so were they less engaged then while you were doing that?
I would probably say yes. They certainly did not have much interest in the game in the next two sessions.
Okay. All right. What about you? What effect does railroading have on player engagement?
On who?
Kai.
Oh, I didn't hear the Kai.
I just watch my players stop literally paying attention. They're all whenever I try to run railroad or watch my other GMs railroading. The moment we all figure out what's going on, it becomes we're just sitting here for the ride and we're waiting and we're looking for the points where the GM is asking us to look for the rest areas when we're supposed to wander out, look for clues, the lever that's going to re-engage the ride, and then we get back on the ride on to the next encounter or the next scenario. Once we know we're on the ride, it literally becomes disengage everything and listen for keywords, look for activation levers and the buttons that will allow us to continue on to the next fight or the next scenario. At which point we're going, okay, and after a while you're just like, so where's the next decision point that branches back? The infamous here's an important decision. They all go to the same decision, no matter what you choose. Red, blue, green. He just goes to the same point at the end. It's just at that point, it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to push through. You just ride the ride to the end as fast as possible, so you can get as much as you can done. The faster we get through the module, the faster, or the railroad, the faster we can go on to get something more entertaining and more fun. And I've watched my players do it when I've done it. I've been in groups where once the entire group figures out that all we're doing is riding no matter what we do, we're being smacked by invisible walls back onto the tracks. It's no longer any fun. So it's just simply, and at one point we literally were just looking at the gym like, what do you want us to do? Because obviously, you keep telling us no for everything. What do you want us to do? Well, and I'm like, okay, fine. This is the plot line you want us to do. We'll do your story. Okay, cool. We're done. And we move on with the game. And then, yay, it's not really fun anymore.
Okay. Bear, what about you? What do you feel the effect on railroading has on player engagement?
Well, it depends what kind of railroading we're talking about. I mean, railroading is a multifaceted and complex thing. It's not, a lot of people decry railroading as this horrible thing where you're just on the rails and nothing you do changes anything. Okay, that's not railroading. That's taking away player agency. That's the players not being able to make decisions. What Kai said about, well, if you pick red, blue, or green, it doesn't matter because you're still going to purple. Well, the players don't know that. So they're not going to feel railroaded because you're the person giving them the next encounter. It's when you take away their ability to choose between red, blue, or green. When everything is red, everything is green, or everything is blue, now you're railroading because you're taking away their ability to make a choice. But the illusion of choice defeats the thought of railroading. As long as they think they're making choices that are taking them to places, they're not going to feel railroaded. It's the quantum ogre argument is one that I can't stand, because it's this idea that, like, well, I'm going to put the ogre wherever the players go. Cool. Players don't know that. When it comes from theater, when someone watches a play that they haven't memorized as a watching member of the audience, and one of the actors flubs a line, they don't know the line's flubbed. They're just watching the play keep going. That's why all actors, when they flub a line, just keep going and try and get back on track with the play as fast as they can. So for me, there's two different conversations being had here. One is predetermined events being decided by the GM to put in whatever place they want to put as they see fit, because no matter what, you're going to wind up at the fireworks factory. And two, removing the complete idea of choice, not even giving the illusion of choice, just making it only one choice. So those are the two different arguments I would see happening. The first, or the former, That's just GMing. You're going to put the encounters where you want them. The players don't have the map. They don't have the breakdown of what's going to happen from scene to scene to scene, and they shouldn't. And therefore, they don't know what's coming next, and it should all be exciting and surprising for them. The latter, taking away their choice options, is absolute bullshit GMing and should not be tolerated in any way, shape, or form. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I've been hanging around Len too long.
Okay, so Connell, what effect does railroading have on the player engagement?
I depend. Let me try that again. All right, depends on the party. It depends on the table. These are the things you need to look at. Are you playing at a shop that gives you weekly modules that you're supposed to get the Pathfinder Society or the Venture League through? Or are you running for a bunch of kids that just want to go to the castle to save Princess Peach? Don't care how they get there. They just want to go save Princess Peach. So if railroading is taking away players, going with what Bear said, and he said it very well, better than I'm ever going to get across tonight. It just, I think it depends on the situation. This past 2 weeks, I didn't do it well. I think all games are railroad-ish by design, or there's a beginning and the end. Granted, is this going to be a cross-country run, or is this just going to be a run up the block? How do we get there? It's not the destination; it's the stuff in the middle that really matters. So, or am I just rambling?
No, you're fine. So, Bruce, are you back with us?
I am.
Okay, so how do you? So, what effect does railroading have on player engagement? I know, and the reason
You've mentioned it 4 times. You've mentioned it 4 times in the past 2 weeks. I was the GM for the Second Darkness when I was trying to get you guys to be jazzed about, we're done with this fucking module. Just 10 more adventure encounters. Come on. And we fucking quit. We fucking quit the goddamn game. And I lost a couple players, but there was some other stuff going on there too. And I don't really miss them, but I did lose them as players. But the entire group, the 8 that remained, they were wanting a game that had meaningful decisions. So I'm like, okay, fine. Well, Kingmaker just came out. I've read the first 2 books cover to cover 4 times, so let's go. And the players were like, oh my God, the amount of volume of choice here versus what we had. The other game was we agree to do something happens, and then there's a fight. And then we're faced with another choice where we can elect to do something or not, and then we do it, and then there's a fight. And it felt like we were playing a Sega Saturn RPG. No, not even a good Sega Saturn RPG, like a crappy Nintendo JRPG. And I'm not trying to slam on either Nintendo or JRPGs, but there was a series of them back in the Super Nintendo days where the only way for you to get through the game was to do enough beat quests, fetch quests, and otherwise garbage quests that you would have the levels to take on the super big bad with this same experience that every other fucking perk server that game had. And there was never any choices, nothing of distinction. You never had your own experience versus the choice where the GM lays the world out in front of you like, here's your little bitty town. Where are you going to go? What? Where are you going? Northeast, southwest. You got grasslands over here. You go over this hill. I'll tell you what's over there. And the chance to give players the opportunity to where they have a choice, whereas opposed they had they had the illusion of choice. So they're going to either go on a pirate ship and get shanghaied and have to fight a bunch of pirates, or they'll have to make their way through town, and I'll take the same 10 miserable human fighters and make them fight the players. Instead of them being pirates, they're just ruffians. There we go. You know, there were so many times where I'd read a book, campaign source book, DM black or dark blue book from 2nd edition. I'm looking at you, where like you could create the same campaign with the same combats, but it just had the illusion of choice where the players had the same fights almost, but the uniforms were a little different. Well, these aren't really Spetsnaz commandos. These are just kind of special forces out of Polaris, that sort of thing. It's just it was very small changes in the illusion of verisimilitude and just other items where you would have no real difference than the miserable plot that you'd hammered out on your note cards or on your spiral notebook, and you force the players through it. And if the players even think about that this just seems very canned. Your table depletes. It's great. And I love that when players use their feet as the currency, they stay at your table. They like the game. If they vote with their feet and get the fuck out, that means you or your method of running the game suck. It's okay. It just means you need to get better.
Yeah, the only complaint I had Kingmaker is the switching of DMs. We went from having a really good DM to, well, what a fuck stick.
Sorry.
Fair.
I just want to address something Bruce said. It's not necessarily, I mean, I see what you're saying, but it's not necessarily that you're a bad GM. It just means that maybe you're not a compatible group. I've had that in the past. I've had players who want very different games than what I play. They want the Skyrim experience. They want nonstop fighting. They want whatever, and they voted with their feet to quit the game. It didn't mean I was a bad GM and need to get better. It just meant we weren't compatible as players. So maybe sometimes we need to look at that as well. What is the compatibility between GM style and player style?
That is true. I've never done really strong with people that preferred storyteller D10 games over like a D20 with THACO or base attack. I mean, there's two different styles of RP that are really big. Like the type of player that enjoys this sort of thing, and the fact that I've got like 7 of these little girls, I'm going to paint each of these 7 a little bit different. And like then there's the player that says, I don't want to deal with any table measurements whatsoever. Can we have theater of the mind tonight? There's two completely different types of game. And as a GM, you have to learn how to read the room. I would recommend that be the first skill you learn as a GM.
And vet your players.
Yeah.
Make sure they know what they're getting into and make sure you know what you're offering, right?
Bruce, if I can use your game as an example.
Sure.
The Saturday game, not your regular Saturday game, not your
not the alpha test.
Alpha test. You have like at least 3 different types of players there. You have Grog, who doesn't want to RP at all. He just wants to roll dice and kill shit. I think me and Chris and maybe one other person very much, hey, let's do the role play and kill shit. And I want to say not Hannah, is mainly all role play.
Janet?
Yeah.
It's funny you called her Hannah because I think you might have played with Hannah once before.
Right. I'm mentally baked right now and not in a fun way. So I'm just saying you have 3 different.
Are you saying you're at gravel road? You're so stoned.
I am saying, forgive me, the people in chat. I'm not doing well tonight. I am almost mentally checked out.
If listen, I appreciate you at least making the effort to get in here. I appreciate Jade in the chat as well. If you're not feeling well, dude, you don't got to be on camera, and you don't have to be here.
No, I get that.
But we do appreciate your presence, both of you. And I know Jade's been cooking 55, 60 hours a week now. Appreciate you, Jade.
But as I was saying, some groups, going back to the concept, with some groups you need a hard line. This is the way the story is going to go. Yes, you get to make your choices, but if you guys don't complete this by this time, something bad is going to happen. That yes, it is a railroad in a sense. There's a track, there's a line. You bought a ticket. Now you're on said train. But isn't that sometimes a necessary evil?
I would agree.
That kind of depends on how you do it. I'll have an explanation for that during my turn.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, excellent example is the game I ran. I had no idea a good chunk of what happened was going to happen until we got there, but I knew for a fact that you guys were going to find an island with giant bees on it. I just didn't know when, how, or where.
That's awesome. I like that.
And see, typically that's the way that I run too. Is that, you know, I know the starting point, I know the end point, and how we get from point A to point B can be either a straight line or real curvy. You know, there's no set thing to get from point A to point B, and a lot of times it's what happens to with the characters or the players at the table. You know, sometimes they may make a comment that was not meant to be, you know, in character, and I'm like, that's a really good idea, and then I'll take that and run with it. You know, and or you know, it just depends. You know, and yes, it basically comes down to your table of what's going to work and what's not. If you have a very you know, kind of sporadic type group that you need to keep them on track, then a small thing, using railroading can definitely help with that. You know, not necessarily in a bad way, still giving them, you know, the illusion of choice, but not necessarily the, you know, the freedom of, you know, ooh, today my master gave me a collar so I could squirrel. You know, that type of deal, because you know, we've all seen those type of tables where, you know, I know one time during a session that, you know, as they were walking through the forest, I made a comment about a black orc arrow stuck in a tree, and the players grabbed onto that and spent a half an hour looking at it. It was something that was kind of one of those things of, it was flavor. Right, it was an orc arrow that was stuck in a tree. The tree had grown over it and everything else, but it was still there from years and years and years ago. But the players were trying to figure out, okay, there's an orc arrow stuck in a tree. Where are the orcs? How long has it been since the orcs were here? Where can we find these orcs? Because I mean, they were hyper focused on it, and it was just meant to be one of those things. On that, typically you would want to kind of funnel them back in using kind of that railroading, but still giving them a ability of the choice of, you know, the green path, the red path, or the blue path. Granted, they're still going to end up at the purple path, but they don't know that.
I'd like to sue for copyright infringement. I
That's fine.
significantly altered Kai's original statement enough with my addition of the purple path. Therefore, Baron G is just plagiarizing me now. Thank you. I'd like him fired as president of Imaginary D&D Harvard.
Okay, so instead of the purple path, it would be the mauve path.
My integrity is betrayed.
Wait, never mind. I'll be nice.
I have no integrity.
Point of parliamentary procedure. It's pronounced mauve. Thank you.
Right.
Connell, this is me, Connell, helping you, bro. This is me getting some revenge for you because you're too weak to take it tonight, man. Come on.
I could take the beating. Don't get me wrong. The beating's not bothering me. It's like beating up a 2-year-old. Yeah, the kid could probably take it, but do you really want to?
Weak sauce.
Yes.
Weak sauce.
You can do better than 2-year-old jokes. Come on, man.
Do I want to? Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
I got nothing.
So Kai, how do you use the railroading but still give them the option and the illusion that it is not a railroad? How about that?
Oh shit! Because honestly, I haven't railroaded in long enough that I guess the only way I still do it is by having an ominous threat that's just sitting there looming, and then providing updates via the news saying, here's things that are happening. This is because I use that a timed milestone idea, the idea that time doesn't stop in the world is that I hate the idea that player characters are the center of the entire universe, so therefore you are merely a small piece in a giant machine that is the world. And even if you stand still, the world moves around you. So I make them have to. I railroad them into decisions by making sure that they realize that if they sit around and do nothing, the world continues to progress. If you sit on the flagship and do absolutely nothing, the world will continue to encroach around you. You will. You don't. The world doesn't pause because of you. So if you want to spend a week doing absolutely nothing, bad guys happen, and now you're forced. I force an encounter upon you, and I guess that might count as it. It's a sandbox, but it's a sandbox where you're not the most important person in the world. If you don't want to be important, you're not important. You're a pathetic loser. And if you want to be a hero, be a hero. I want you to be a hero. I'll give you all the tools to be a hero. But if you choose to be a garbage truck driver, well, I hope you're the most heroic garbage truck driver. I'm going to let you do whatever you want, but including nothing. But the world doesn't sit there and wait for you. It's all right. This isn't Skyrim where it is where if you're not in the zone, or sorry, use Minecraft. Sorry, this chunk isn't permanently loaded. The world does not unload around you. There's this little ball I've got, the little globe of the world, and the world continues to spin. Shit continues to happen. Ships sail. People move. People live. If you want to be nothing, you're nothing. And I don't give a fuck about it. I don't know if that's the answer you want.
It's the answer we needed.
Well, Jade, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend.
It looks like he just came in from maybe his door was open and he skied right through his door.
That would mean
No one told me it was stupid hat night. Come on, man. That should have been in the pre-show.
I like my Jane hat. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was supposed to say I like his flower.
Oh, I thought it was Cartman. Sorry.
No. I like my black market beagle. Thank you very much.
This is my Mr. Max hat.
Your Mr. Max hat?
Because I envision him wearing something like this when he goes out. Seriously.
Oh.
It's not a
difference
beaver
is he
hat.
killed
It's
it
a
himself.
mullet hat.
Please visit our country at some point and learn that we're not all living in cabins in the woods, please.
I thought it was trailers.
Oh, I would love
No,
to live in a
that's
cabin
your
in the
part
woods
of
in
the
the
world.
snow with my snow.
I mean, was it trailer park boys with bubbles?
Yes, and he
Well,
also
that's
lived
good
under the
where I'm at,
stairs.
So, Jade, what with you going back to the original question there, what effect does railroading have on player engagement?
Depends on the table. So if you're running heavy modules, the idea, and I posted this in chat, the idea of a module is a self-contained story for a game master to be able to present to their players in a way that the players can get an idea of what's going on in the world around them, and maybe even learn about the world through the module. It's all self-contained. Game master doesn't have to put a lot of extra effort into it. It's already done for them. If that's the only thing you do is module play or society play or one-shot plays, awesome, perfect. Use it, go for it, roll dice, have a good time, slaughter things left, right, and center. Go be the best murder hobos that you can be, because that's kind of what that's there for. However, this gets back to my roots of what I used to do as a game master, at least what I thought game mastering was when I was 25 years ago younger. When I first started game mastering, I was far more invested in the story I was trying to tell than I was what my players wanted to do. And I have now, before anyone shouts me down, I have learned that I was wrong, at least in part. My world has stories to it, deep lore, deep stories to it. And the players are meant to discover that on their own, in their own time, at their own pace, or even, if they want to. If they don't want to, well, they're just another pawn in the great game. However, the players who do want to learn about the world and actually become invested in the world have the opportunity to become more than a pawn. They can become a bishop, a knight, king, a queen, a rook, even. If we're talking in just chess terms, but some of them can become, well, the 4D game or chess masters instead, or the 3D chess masters instead, and realize that there's more going on other planes than just them. When I told my first few stories, it was very much a me-centric thing. And again, I realized I was wrong in doing this, but the result was that my players did become invested in the story and invested in the world, and they wanted more of it. The more I revealed to them, the more they progressed through the game, the more they wanted to know, the more they wanted to invest and change things for the better and change things for their own purposes. So I think starting out, a railroad gets them the idea, gets them the context that they need to continue on their own past that point.
Okay. So how can, and this is for Kai, let's see here. How does railroading affect immersion?
In my experience, it breaks it. If it's done poorly, realize that everything I say comes from I'm going to pull out the now multiple year old joke now of where did the bad GM touch you? It's when it's good, you don't notice, but hey, we're not here for good. We're here to tell you how bad it is. And like I said in my first answer to the question, it's once you realize that you've got no agency, no free will, no choice, and all you're doing is just riding a rail. If you see the GM pull out the adventure module and flip pages, is the point where you just turn off being engaged by the story. At least to me, and how I've watched other players do it. It's once you realize that you're just following a script, you're just kind of looking for the immersion goes away. It's just like, okay, go ahead, read us the flavor text, so that way we can. When we load up into the next room, read us the flavor text. We'll wander around, play the Sierra point and click adventure game thing, figure out where the key point is, go fight the 3 orcs, get the free cake, load next room. And
what if the orc has a pie?
Wait, there's cake?
Well, right. Well,
Man.
it's like you enter a room as an orc defending a cupcake. I mean, literally at this point, it just comes down to if I know the GM is literally flipping. I've seen too often that if we try to be creative or think outside the box, try to get off the rails and do something interesting, we're shut down. Like, no, that's not supposed to happen. The walls are suddenly impossible to climb. The guards are too perspective. So it's too, like, they're too tall. You can't find a way to get over the walls, or there's an anti-magic field that prevents your ability to do anything useful. Sorry, nobody wants to talk, so therefore your social character can't do anything. Every guard the halls are all instantly well lit, well painted, no hiding spots, so your rogue can't do anything. So now all you have to do is just follow the line. Just moved. Okay, we're all in our 2x2 square, 2x2 grid square. We continue to hit W the up key to move down the hallway. At which point we look around, look right, left, hit search trap button, encounter RP room, look for the Sierra solution, and then move on to fight next thing, and then watch the GM flip the page to the next section. There's no fun in it anymore. It's a game, all right, but at that point, load a computer game, play a video game, load your SSI classic, box of text, see the walls, walk through walls, map on your paper adventure game. Just go play the video game. If all we're doing is walking through and watching flavor text, and that's how. Now, if a good GM can run one, it's just fantastic, and I think it's amazing. Fuck yeah. Okay, cool. I'm on board. I'm okay. But too many GMs are just simply, I bought a $40 book. I'm going to flip through it until we get through book 1. Then I bought another $40 book, and we're going to go through it until we get to book 2. And so on until we completed the adventure path. And at that point, I'm sorry. I've got other things to do with my time. If I have to wait till designated talking time to actually feel like I'm doing something, and even then, I only have one of 3 solutions I can already get. Why am I here? Why am I invested in this? I can go play another game. I can go do something else, and I would prefer to spend something and do something else. And even if I want more than the illusion of choice, I actually want an actual meaningful choice. And most of the times when I encounter it as a player, I guess because I would rather read a book if I'm just going to follow a script. And once I know that there's only one designated path and that all lines lead to purple, I'm just going to go read a book. I'm out. I'm here. Like, I'll stick with the game long enough to be supportive of my fellow players, but I am mentally and creatively checked out. I'm just here to mechanically find the solution and get to the end, to play the game.
Okay. Now, Bear, you had mentioned that a couple of different types of the railroading of the second variety of the done badly. How can that affect immersion?
What?
You had mentioned that there are 2 different kinds of
Yeah, there's
railroading.
removing player agency and decision-making process, and then there's moving the story around to get the achieved goal without the players knowing what you're doing behind the scenes.
Correct. So the removing the removing of the agency. Right. How does that really affect the immersion of the game?
Said it done, no? I mean, it's obvious. By them not being able to make decisions, they will not immerse, and therefore there is no immersion. It's not some great mystery. It's going to, if you take away the player's ability to make decisions, they're going to not want. They're going to turn into what Kai just said. They're going to become all that stuff. Rather read a book, rather watch a movie. I'm just here to roll dice and not care. So yeah, I mean, it's a short answer because it's pretty straightforward. I think. I mean, it's on the wall at that point. I will say. There is a danger between. So I did a whole video about this, right? There's railroad in the sandbox. I said there's a third way, and I presented the idea of the third way. And for me, the danger of players is that we have since 3rd edition, we have invested so much into concepts of balance and player agency and sandbox and all these buzzwords that fly around in our hobby. 75% of people who don't know what the hell they mean. They just use them because they heard someone else say it. And now it's the thing they do. There is a danger of players perceiving anything negative that happens to them in a game as railroading, as removing agency, as, oh, I've seen it happen, dude. It's not a no. I've seen players literally something not go their way and immediately start accusing the GM of railroading them. And he's not. It's just the story didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And this is the place we have to be careful, because immersion, if you're doing the story the right way, or you're playing the game the right way, or you're having a fun time and everybody's immersed in their characters, it's never going to happen. Because they're going to go, crap, we didn't succeed, versus you're stonewalling me. So it comes down to being a quality GM who knows how to make a good time for the players and have a good time as a group and really, really have fun with it. This is why I don't run modules, because printed modules are nonsense. They're not fun. They're boring. They're, as Kai said, scripts. And I don't find that interesting. I've said this many times on my own channel, I use the Neil Gaiman school of plotting, which is, here are the 4 or 5 points I want to make sure we have in tonight's session over the next 3 sessions. How we get there, that's up to the players, and I will react to what they do. But if I need to move something into their path, I will, because they don't know it's not in their path already. Therefore, their immersion won't be shattered by it. But if I remove their ability to choose, then I'm breaking immersion. Then I'm causing them to have no reason to be here, because at that point in time, go choose your own adventure, because that's what you're doing at that point in time. It's if the only choices they have are A or B, it's not really a choice. That answer your question, Baron G-Rock?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
So
I'd like to take the top
not
square
Kai.
for the block.
yes, Jay.
So I have a question about that. Now, when you have a, let's say, a one-shot experience where you've designed something that's only meant to be played once, and you tell the players up front, here are the choices available to you. Here is what your mission parameters are. And I've doing this in gameplay, like doing this in such a way that it doesn't break the immersion of what the gameplay is. But you tell them what their goal is supposed to be and the choices of directions they can go, from the starting point. Is that a railroad, or is them having the ability to choose which direction are we going to achieve this goal? Is that not a railroad at that point, if they have the choice?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a railroad if they have choices.
So my example there is I ran a one-shot for Free RPG Day called the Fall of Arnor, and actually ran a version of it here on TableBreakers over the summer. And they were basically told, you have to get the MacGuffin. You have to get to the MacGuffin. You then have to get the MacGuffin out of the area. Whatever means by which you get the MacGuffin gone, it doesn't matter as long as the MacGuffin gets gone. And they were given several choices of, you can go to this place here, you try to search for the MacGuffin. You can try to go to this place here to try to search for the MacGuffin. Or you can go to this other third place to search for the MacGuffin. Each one of those places had different dangers to them, and they had to make the choice which way they wanted to go. They had reasonably good intel that where the MacGuffin was. They went there. After that, they were given another series of choices. You can either go to this point here, you get the MacGuffin to fly out of the city. You can try to smuggle the MacGuffin out of the city on a boat, and via the waterways, or you can try to flee the city on foot via land, out of the city. Like, what would you like to do? And that was the choices I presented them as the main options. Now, how they got there, I didn't really care how they got there, as long as they got to whatever decision point they wanted to get to.
Okay, is there a question in there, or are you just?
Well, that was the example that my example of how the story was, as Kai said, pre-scripted. Everything was kind of scripted out. Like, these are the things that are going to happen. The players don't get involved. So it was technically a railroad. Like, all those things were going to happen, one way or another.
Yeah, those are events in the world. They're gonna happen.
Right.
What the players do is so the railroad is not if the story is going to evolve as the players exist in the world. The railroad is when you go, hey, players, you're going here, and we want to go left. Nope, you can only go right. Oh, we want to go up the mountain. Sorry, you can only go down the mountain. That's railroad.
Okay.
Having events happen, whether or not they interact with them or not, is just a living world.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion. Kai, Donald, anybody else jump in on that?
I'm not disagreeing with that.
I was just going to say that because of the fact that you had three different choices, and that there were different events tied to each of those choices. So that way, had we gone out into the city, there was a different event happening to us. If we had chosen a different direction, different event was going to happen. If we had chose the dockyard and got the event that we got, each event was different. So it wasn't a railroad. It wasn't 3 choices equals purple. It was 3 choices led to three different results. Like on my session, I had at least 4 to 5 different possible endings, and you guys found a fifth that I hadn't even intended, and I was happy you chose that one because I gave you options, and then you went for option, A, B, C, D, and you went for E. I was happy for the fact that you found an E option and ran with it. As long as each encounter did not equal the same point, then it's not a railroad. So yeah.
But for me, all the options did equal the same point at the end. It didn't matter how you did it, just as long as you did it.
Right, but the thing was we had different scenarios waiting for us. So it wasn't all events equal the same fight. It was a different fight every direction. I'm okay with that. So as long as there was a different feel to everything, so it didn't feel like Mass Effect 3's ending. That's all that mattered.
Okay.
Bruce, you want to chime in on that?
Not really. We've got 7 people in the panel here, and I feel like I'd be just running over the same dead bird that we've all hit already on this highway.
Okay, so
yeah, it's pretty. No offense, Kai. It's pretty hard to follow Kai, though.
I love having this because we get like all the perspectives, but I'm hearing the same thing that I was getting ready to say, so I'm going to be like, thank you.
Don't pick me. Pick me last.
All right, well, we'll start with Bear first then on this next one.
Me, I'm talk as much as Kai does.
No.
Start with Bruce.
Right.
Start with TCG. They haven't talked yet. Throw Connell a breathing apparatus or something. I think he's dead over there. He looks like he's just passed away.
I'm alive, just waiting for my turn.
The dead walk.
Waiting for my turn and behaving.
I'm getting messages because apparently my video from last night got shonnered, so that's fun.
Woohoo! Hey, let's all watch it together.
No.
So, okay, Kyle, I'm going to actually use your game. I was not in there, so I'm kind of on the outside looking in type thing. What could you have done to kept the same results that you had, minus the TPK, but made them feel that that it wasn't necessarily a railroad?
Gaming, I've gotten used to gaming at a shop more than at somebody's table. And I'm not saying Kai is right. To a certain degree, it is scripted. I have this module right here. This module right here, right? And I've ran it more times than I really want to talk about. But every time I run it slightly different than the last time. Even though it's paged out, script out, A versus B versus that. My problem is, what I could have done differently for this group was take this, do that, because that's how I've written out in my game for you guys. It was scripted out. They do this, this happens. All right, I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to throw a labyrinth and a maze, a bridge that they're going to have to get through. Well, I'm going to have to throw out the bridge because I don't have the fucking time. And I don't quite understand why I built either. So that's not going to help. I think I just needed more time. I'm not faulting the players, not really even faulting myself, other than the fact that I should have just said no. I just needed more time. If I think I had more time at a table that's not at a game shop. But a game, was able to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that you fall into. Would fall into if you just necessarily just run out of a game shop, which I do. Yes, I use children as a hook because with most parties, children, women, sometimes a dog are the hook. Well, I got the guy above me who thinks all children should be tied to the coast during tornado season.
Should have used the dog.
That's what I'm thinking. I should have used the dog next time. So I just think,
and name it Harry, because that would have got him right here, and he would
That
have
or Mouse.
100. Yeah, he would have been 100% on board.
I'm not, like I said, not blaming the players. I think I just needed more time actually playing at a physical table that's not storyboarded out for me, where it's more free form. And that's on me. That's not on the players. I don't know if this really answers the question that you had for it, but this is
the question I had is in hindsight, basically, what do you think you could have done differently to kept it a quote unquote railroad in your mind, but not in the player's mind?
use a dog. Use the dog. Make sure I vetted out the big bet at the. I was expecting a push, not Rita that posted from the Power Rangers to wipe him off with one mega blast. Yes.
What the hell are you talking about? I have no concept of what
Kamehameha hate us.
What are you saying, Connell? Dogs and Power Rangers? What are you talking about, man?
I'm talking about I should have used a different hook. I should use a different hook to
Okay.
get the players involved. The dog is most of the panelists read a novel series called Dresden. If I said Mouse shows up at the gate, everybody but crafty gamers like, why is Mouse at the gate? We need to see what's wrong with Mouse because it's Mouse from a fucking series that we've all read multiple times. So I need a better hook. What?
I only read it once.
I've never read it.
What?
Do I suck too? Because I've never read this book series that was written when I was an adult and I wasn't a teenager when it came out?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't read Harry Potter either, if that helps. But isn't it something like the hook should be you showed up for the fucking game? There is a little bit of onus on the players to invest. I'm tired of this mentality of, oh, well, I got to come up with 15 hooks and the players are going to... Fuck off. You showed up to play a game. If you want to sit on your asses in the tavern and just role play with each other, cool. I don't have to do fuck all tonight except take your orders. Great. But this idea of like, I got to hook them. It's not a movie. It's not a TV series. I don't have one episode to get their attention. They should be there to play a game, right? Or am I crazy for thinking this way? Also, for those who don't know me, Gen X... I'm really Gen X, so I tend to be very about stuff.
Well, the caveat there is that the game was designed or intended to be enjoyed by YouTube audience here on TableBreakers. But I think part of the reason why we design the hooks the way we do for our TableBreaker show is that we're also trying to get the investment of those watching it, so they know why the party is get involved, why the party wants to be involved. Now, if we were to just do away with that, like the whole idea of like, here's the party, this is what their mission is, we join our party in progress. Like, I think that might have a different format and different feel for Connell, for the sake of Connell's game. I think it would have been a little bit different if we'd gone with that method than you're just standing guard and here's your hook.
Yeah.
Again, but that's the difference between running a game for an audience and running a game for the players, right? I mean, that's the thing. What are you running the game for? The audience watching or the players at the table? And that's the decision. You can't serve two masters. You can only serve one. So for me, when I run my games, I'm running it for my players. If people in the chat want to watch and have a great time, awesome. If they don't want to do anything, that's cool too. But my players are here, and that's what I'm running my game for, is my players. And they're playing with me. They're not playing for the audience. They're playing for the event that we're creating together. And if you do a really good job of it, isn't that just going to automatically drag the audience in because they're watching something captivating and interesting, right? I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. I feel like there's this like disconnect that I'm hearing, and it's not a bad thing, but it's like, for me, I'm just going, I don't see why this is an issue. Railroading is bad. We can all agree on that. Taking away player choices are bad. but also falling all over yourself and fawning on the players and trying to give into their every whim and desire and nurture every little anxiety they might have about the game is also bad. It's the opposite of railroading. It's helicopter GMing, right? It's not healthy for your game.
Sorry.
Shouldn't you, like Kai and I, we agreed on something at the beginning of the night, which is we just run a game and then see who has fun. And then I take feedback from my players after the game to hear what they want more of or what they felt. All my players know they can send me messages. I mean, Christ, one of them did. Brian, I think we could do that. All right, Brian, thank you. You know, it's just like, it was cute. But it's like, the thing is that having players have that freedom is important. And the point he made was valid, even if I thought it was cute the way he did it. As much as I love the people who watch our plays, I don't give a shit what they want. They're not at the table. They're not playing. They're not part of this creation. They're an audience. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. I don't know. But I just feel like worrying about hooks is a silly thing. If you're in the tavern and I want you to go on an adventure, I promise you'll be going on that adventure. It'll happen. Somehow it's going to happen. And if you don't, if you ignore the call to adventure and you sit at the table and you just drink all night, that's on you, Bo. When you come to me at the end of the game, well, the game was boring. I don't fucking know, man. The mysterious stranger came into the bar, went and bought some stuff. I pointed him out to you, and you all sat at the table and argued about who made the most gold last week. That's not my fault. That's on you as players. Is that railroading? No. But it could be considered a little too laissez-faire. Maybe there needs to be, like someone was saying, Kai was saying this earlier, at the beginning, or maybe it was you, Jade, where at the beginning you need a little bit of a railroad to push them on the path of adventure. Maybe that's necessary, right? I don't know.
I mean, and that's what the hook is meant to do. It's meant to get your players invested enough in what's happening around them to get involved. I mean, maybe that hook is, maybe it shouldn't be a hook. Maybe it should just be hey, here's what your group is doing as you're walking, as we enter this scene, take it from here. Like this is your mission. This is what the Baron or King has asked you to do. And here it is written out, hand out at the table, or a PDF copy to all the people online, and like, here's your mission. Go do it. Here's the scene.
When I go to the shop,
be a director.
Right. When I go to the shop, I walk in the door. I normally have, depends on the group, I normally have either 10 kids fucking waiting, wanting to bust through the fucking door so they can play, or I have guys smoking outside, having a smoky treat, waiting the game. They're waiting for me if I'm not there before they do. I always have at least one or two people show up before I get there. Anyways, so I sit down. They give the shop $5. Each person gives $5. They want to be there. I could play Monopoly with them via D&D. I don't know how to make that one work, but they're there. They're already committed to and it goes back to this kind of thing about what Baron asked: how do you keep the immersion part of the game when you're doing a railroad? A lot of these guys, after the game is done, especially the grown-ups, holy shit. Okay, so next week, I'm thinking, and we're talking about the game, and so instead of going left, we should go right, and da. And when we get this, we should sell it to this person, not that person, and da. They're all about the game. And when you're playing at a table with friends, I mean, I go over to Jade's house whenever you invite me over for a game. No questions asked. I'm just happy to be there. But somebody's like, hey, such and such is having a game, two games in. I'm like, this is just not my jam. I can't do House of Cards via for Kai. He's, or whatever. It's not going to grab my attention. I'll bounce. But when you have people paying to be there, it's completely different. Dude, you're my friend. You're just not running the game I'm interested in. Versus, take my money. Let's roll some dice. And I think that's there's the hiccup for me.
I'd like to say hello to Flady. Welcome in, sir.
Hi, Flady.
Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection.
Bear, I give you complete and total authority to beat the shit out of me on the impersonations. By the way,
Who's
Oh,
doing
we will.
impersonation?
Don't worry. So Jade, what do you think with Connell's game he could have done slightly differently to that would have given you not the feeling of a railroad?
So something I said this in the review, or as some might call it, the roast.
Real quick, Connell, this is not to beat you up under any circumstance.
That's
I want
not
to do that.
It was roast.
But it
The-
it is something to kind of get your creative juices flowing.
And you know,
For the next time.
if you as game masters out there have also had a problem where your players just did not seem interested in what was going on, this might also work for you. And I said this in the review / roast. What was it, last week? Last week,
Yeah.
whatever. Give them 6 hard truths about the scenario, about the thing they're walking into. Give them 6 things that they know as players, or even as more predominantly as characters. These are the 6 things your characters know from the get-go, from the word go. And if you're going to deviate from those 6 truths, it's because one of them was a falsehood, and a commonly believed falsehood, or a prejudice of some kind. So that is key one, and all of those 6 things should come into play at some point during the game, even if it's just a one shot or even a long running campaign. Now, if you want to flip all 6 of those things for a long running campaign on their head because all of their preconceived notions end up being false in the end, that's on you. However you want to approach that. But for Connell, I think having us already on the move, already engaged in an action before the curtains went up, I think that would have been a better start for your evening on the first night of the one shot. And the way you would do that is, as we are, we already have our mission briefing from whoever. Like, we are told, go into the woods, take this amulet into the woods, find the cause of whatever the problem happens to be, the missing children, the missing person, whatever, and solve the issue. Like, that's our mission order. So we're already engaged. We aren't waiting around for someone to come to us to give us a mission. We already have a mission. And that's, again, part of the 6 truths. Like, that is, you could actually wrap that into the 6 truths of ours is, here's your mission. Here is the point of origin to investigate. Go forward from here. I think that would have set us up on a better path for potential success, rather than dancing around like, well, it's kids. Do we really trust them? People coming out of the woods. Do we trust them? And having that whole 45 minutes to an hour of, well, I don't know if we should really be doing this nonsense. To avoid that, we're already in mission. We're already in progress. Like that is the only advice I have for you on.
All right. Crafting gamer. What do you think one thing that could have been different with the one shot that would have, definitely made it not feel as a railroad?
Well, I have to kind of go to what Jade said, which is the 6 truths. Fact of the matter is, I was an alchemist, and because I didn't know the area at all, I had no idea what I should or should not have for my character's brewed up potions. So all I had was bombs. If I had known at least a few things about the area, I would have asked, can I have this potion? Can I have that potion? Can I have potions that resist cold? But I didn't know. So okay. I have to totally agree with the 6 truths.
Okay. Bruce, what about you?
Sorry. Repeat your question, Baron, because I've had
What
some bunny trails in my head pop up since you first ran with it.
what do you think would be one thing that could have been different with the one shot that would have not made it feel as if it were a railroad?
Um, I don't think really the illusion of choice helped us out. We're like, hey, we need you guys to go there. Do you want to go do it? And it should have been one of those things where, like, if the kids were so damned important, and again, my not anti-child, but anti-child wrapped in MacGuffin wrap comes out, but you you should pretty much try to facilitate some sort of way for us to organically develop a want to help said small fucking rugrat or a carpet goblin, and we could help them out organically rather than being told we got to fix this, we got to take up arms, we got to go rescue the children. And I'm not a real big fan of that anyway, because I give a shit about kids. I know that sounds terrible, but I like you're useless until you're fucking 19. Sorry, at least a year outside your childhood, and to where you can make a choice for yourself. Will you smoke cigarettes, or will you wait and and do other things to yourself? But I'm not a big fan of that style of introduction, and maybe I'm just saying that there are other ways to do it. One way could have been we started off at a camp. We were camping, the six of us or five of us or four of us together, hanging out, checking trot lines. Uh, then all of a sudden in the forest, we hear a cry for help. Well, you're the only adults around. It sounds like there's might be somebody young in the forest that's screaming for help. You should probably go check it out, because as opposed to being in town and having the option of closing the door on the said, hey, can you go help us fix some kids? No, go fuck yourself. Slam door in face. I really, I don't give a shit. But if, like, we're out in the middle of the woods and we've been dealing with our own problems, like every other day, there's like a goblin track we find around the camp, or something's going on. We saw other people that are wilderness folks a week ago, and now we're hearing it sounds like one of the kids from that camp is in trouble. That would probably be a better way to hook, especially a dick like myself, into a situation where I might give a shit. But the illusion of choice, I would get rid of that, and I would feed just information, gather a few items from the players, like, it's the first day of camping, what are you doing? And just like note things down on the second day of camping while you guys are getting some trot lines established. You bump into another set of campers, and they're about maybe 500 yards away from your campsite. Man, a woman, looks like three kids, possibly a family. And yeah, they look like they are a family. And then you guys, you find yourself a patch of wild blueberries. So, like, yay, we go back to camp with wild blueberries. Shit like that. And then, like, you're 15 minutes into the game or into the event, and, like, all of a sudden, like, hey, this is day 6 of your camping, and now here's a whole situation that you hear what sounds to be like things running through the forest. There's a kid screaming for help in that same direction. It sounds like something's running towards him. What are you doing? What are you doing? And something of that nature. But just a more organic feed, and it takes a bit longer to set up, but it pays off a lot better, because you never want to have the guy slam the door in the face of the town crier after he's disturbed. Like, I was just enjoying one of your very fine ladies at the ice cream social. I've got to pull my sock off my dick and get it back in there again, because that was great. I'm done. I don't care about your rescue mission. I'm getting late. I'm on leave.
The hell kind of ice cream socials do you go to?
The fun ones.
Apparently, I'm going all the wrong kind.
All right. Last but not least,
Sorry.
go ahead, Bear.
I once had a GM who handed us a paper before the campaign, before we made characters, and it was the, jokingly, the commandments of the campaign. It was the social contract we were all going to have to agree to play. And item 10 was do not be a heel. You can be a tough guy. You can be a lone wolf who lives on the edge and plays by his own rules. You can be a scoundrel. You can be a knave. You can be all those things. But you have a heart of gold. Otherwise, this isn't the campaign for you. And I thought that was good that he put that up front. What was expected of your characters that you're going to make for this game. And if someone wanted to play the asinines out for themselves and, Han Solo without the heart of gold, which is what everybody thinks they're going to play when they make those characters, it wasn't the game for them. And I thought that was a pretty good thing to put up front as a statement, I thought that's something that maybe you can do. Now, again, you're going to hear certain types of players go, well, you're limiting my choices and that's railroading me. So, too bad. Go play 5e.
Curating the table is good, Bear.
Yeah. You got to vet your players, man. You got to vet your players.
So last but not least, one of the most outspoken people from last week on this, but constructively, Kai, what do you think would have been a way that just one item that would have made it not feel railroady?
Had we not had a magical teleporting senior officer show up behind us and then tell us to get the fuck out and go help the children, even though the fact that we were the people who were there at the door saying, no, why are we here? And then being like, go do this thing. And it's just like, but we were getting ready to say yes, but I guess we're going to go do it. I think it was, we were about ready to actually, have a meaningful choice, but the meaningful choice was yanked out of us by the arrival of you've been standing still for too long, asshole senior officers showing up and saying, get your bitch ass moving. And at that point it was, could we have at least gathered some more information about what's going on? No, get the fuck out. Okay. Thanks, boss. I now know what we're going to do. Follow the children. And follow the children. What else are we doing? Follow the children. Mm-hmm. That's all we're doing. Had we been given enough time to, I don't know, make a choice? Sure, the illusion would have been maintained for a hair longer. But let's put it this way. I think the other thing that could have happened was the ogres are able to teleport faster than you and are playing expert league NFL football, passing the children off like they're fucking magical. And having to remind, hey, I'm actually trying to do something useful. Again, that kind of makes it feel like, what are we doing here again? Are we just killing time so we can go watch an NFL football player pass off to another football player so they can go run off at super duper super speeds and get a touchdown, and we're supposed to just follow after? Yeah, no. I think that would have been it. Yeah, those are two things. Mm-hmm.
All right, Bruce.
What Kai's saying here reminded me of when I watched Office Space again for the 14,000th time, where the movie starts off and we're in minute 12, and hey, you had a good week last week, but you forgot the cover sheet for your TPS reports, and 70,000 other people come in and notify you of the cover sheets for the TPS reports.
I have 6 bosses.
Go ahead, guys.
No, I'm just saying, I have 6 different bosses. They all do.
Yeah, it just felt like that. It actually did. Like we were actually getting ready to go do something nice and Next thing you know, we're voluntold you're doing it anyway. We were already on our way to do it. I was lacing my boots up. I had told the hooker to go on home. We'll snort cocaine later. We were.
I don't think he was an actual ice cream social at this point.
He was like Big Al's. World famous Big Al's. That's where he was at.
He was somewhere. Jeez.
I understand what you're saying about it, but have you ever had that job where I'm gonna step outside for like 5 fucking minutes and fucking breathe, and your boss just appears out of fucking nowhere?
Yeah.
Every job ever.
Every job ever. So when it comes to that, I'm like, okay, I got in the back of my head is I got 2 nights to try to pull off this horse shit. And I'm gaming with a group of people that likes the him and haw and crack jokes about 80s reference, mainly that guy right there, the Mr. Hands. So I was just trying to move the story along as fast as I could. And that's I'm not blaming you guys. It was just trying to get the story going. So I did the magical boss that appears out fucking nowhere.
I'm also going to give one more word of advice. When a player puts their entire character sheet pretty much up there spelling out what they can do into the group chat in private, so that way you know what to plan and plot for, and then you proceed to assume that I'm somehow a DPSer and not read what I actually made, not tell me that I'm doing something wrong, not tell me that I'm actually could do a better character. Perhaps, just perhaps, yeah. It makes the player who did all that work feel like shit. And now I now know that don't put any effort in. Just play.
I completely disagree. I think that character was fucking amazing.
Yeah, but not for the adventure you ran.
Yeah, well, you know, even old Yeller got shot at the end.
You know what? No. Fuck off.
Jade?
Yeah, so I kind of want to, kind of what you just said about your own game. That, like, how am I gonna, get this horseshit game together? That right there is, I think, part of the reason why the game fell apart the way it did. Is you, as the game master, also didn't believe in it enough, or you had felt bad about it from the get-go. That you didn't have enough stock in your own material to run the game. And I think that's very important for game masters is if you're going to run a one-shot, if you're going to run a story, a scenario of some kind, and yes, you have to have the idea and the actual presentation of choice for your players. You have to give them the ability to make choices and live with consequences. Every choice has a consequence. Every inaction has a consequence. And exploit those and use them to no end. But you as the game master also have to believe in what you're selling. If you don't believe in what you're selling, you have no faith in what you've put together. How are your players supposed to have faith in what you put together? Like how are your players supposed to get on board with you if you're not even on board with yourself? And I've heard a lot of game masters, especially younger game masters, speak the same way about their own games, about their own material. Like, oh yeah, this is a really crap scenario. This is a really crap game. It's not my best work. Well, if it's not your best work, take a back seat for a moment. Think about why you think it's not your best work and improve it. You always have time for improvement. You always have time for revision. You always have time to make it what you actually want. But believe in your own ability to do so. Because if you don't believe it, players aren't either. There's no way for them to. Be the energy at the table. Just had to interject on that.
G-Rock, are you going to continue going around the channel on this, or going around the panel on this?
No, I think we've hit everyone who is actually in the game because myself, I
would not.
have a horse in this, and Bear didn't really have a
I have
horse in
no
this
horse
one.
in this. This is a great race. I don't lose.
I mean, so this topic came about because of Connell's one shot for winter, his winter themed one
Well, I've
shot.
heard the tales. I've heard the tales.
Yeah.
And I think Connell
And-
needs to understand sometimes, as he said, getting the story moving is not the proper job of a GM. Sometimes you gotta let the players make 80s jokes and fuck around.
I get that at a normal setting, at a normal table.
No,
or a shop, I get that. But when you've got two nights.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Dude,
It's not an endurance test. It's not a speed test. You don't have to complete the module in 2 nights. You have to have fun. That's the goal. It doesn't matter if they never get to the fireworks factory. It doesn't matter if they never find out the secret origin of the Oompa Loompas. It doesn't matter if they don't find the golden ticket. What matters is they had fun and you had fun. But you're putting all this pressure on yourself to deliver a product. It's not a product. It's not a play.
About the journey.
It's not a radio drama. It's not a movie. It's not a novel. It's a fucking role-playing game with a bunch of idiots, all of us included, sitting around making stupid jokes, cracking wise, rolling dice, and saying stupid shit like, I attacked the gazebo, you know? And your job, herd the cats. That's it.
I would,
You've been running games for money for too long, where people have an expectation of outcome because they're paying you. Different beast.
So my question and this is for literally anybody to answer, what kind of game excites you? What kind of game do you want to run? And if the answer is not this game, why are you running it? Like,
I think
what excites you in gaming?
I think some people get excited because, like, when they do round robin GMing, it's been a year since I ran last time, and let me show the guys what I've learned. And then they get around to thinking about what they want to run, and they're like, they look at the stack of stuff they've got. No, I don't want to run Ruins of Adventure. No, I don't want to run the Skinshaw Murders. No, I don't want to run the Against the Giants G1. No, I don't want to run. And then they're like, well, fuck it. Let me just rehash this and see if I could bend the same adventure into another 4 hours of play. Because, like, there's going to be an attack on the gazebo moment. There's going to be a time where, like, somebody starts talking about how wonderful the movie White Man's Burden is. There's going to be a time where somebody starts reciting lines off of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, you know, shit like that. And you're going to have that. So, like, maybe somebody might have had that moment, but I think whenever it comes around to it, I think really what you should do is just, if you're going to do an open call for games on a system, for a game on a system, like, go ahead, create characters for this game system here, blah, 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 blah. Whatever system it is, don't even worry about what monsters you're going to pack or what stuff you're going to do. Find yourself in that setting or in that game rule set with a setting you're damn near very well familiar with. Like, if G-Rock said, Bruce, I want you to run Pathfinder core rule book, but for whatever you want to do, but we'll create characters for it. Don't you worry, core rule book, no problem. No other sources for character creation. We got you, bro. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to run? What level you want to be at? I don't give a shit, Bruce. We'll do 5th or 7th. Okay, fine. Well, I'll just run off the top of my fucking head Patolus, because I know Patolus backwards and forwards, and I dream about it at night like fucking Rick Decker dreams about goddamn unicorns. I'm really happy that I spent so much quality time in Patolus, because I know where I would want to be at for every specific level for the various challenges within that game. And so I think really system mastery is important indeed, but really getting to where when you have a world down pat to where you know how many paces away upwind you're going to be before you smell the fresh baking pretzels at the gnome shop. Whereas you can, if you are 500 feet away in one district wall separate from where you were just at, you know exactly what time of day it is depending on what the sound of the forges are making, because you know the sound of the steel that's being worked from the morning versus the afternoon versus early evening when they shut down, just to be polite to their human neighbors. Versus if you decide to go hang out in Camp Town, which is a bunch of tents outside the exterior walls of the city, you know how the players should be dressed because in your head you've walked around there before, and you know that if you look like a tourist or you look like somebody who's new or doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, you're going to get smuggled away into some cult and you'll get put into a rape box, and they're going to have fun with you and you'll never be found again. Versus just all sorts of fucking what if adventures. So really system mastery is good, but I think setting mastery is an absolute necessity. That way, when players decide to wander off their own, you're there on your little map tracking them, and you're like, well, you're going to have a 1 in 3 chance of stumbling across 6 little kobolds that are hyperactively sexual. And if they smell your female cleric of Lothian and she's on her special Aunt Flo visit, boy, the party's in for a big treat. And that's just my own personal theory. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think knowing the setting really well can actually replace. I'm going to prepare super hard for this 4-hour excursion, because every combat takes 45 minutes for me to run because it's a slog of a combat. And I think instead I need to learn exactly what type of angle that this ogre magi can produce a cone of cold, at what downward force he can shove it into somebody's face, and it still covers a 60-foot cone. I think that's less important than you actually being able to kind of go with the players. If you're just saying, we're going to run an adventure, or we're going to run an event, or we're going to run a tour of this town, that might not be your initial outing, but that might be your saving grace, if in case you're looking at the event that you're trying to run or the adventure you're running, and you're just not feeling it. You've got limp dick syndrome. It's fucking hollow. It's a fucking homecoming weekend, and none of the perfume's touching you in the belly button. I get it, but you got to run anyway. So run something you know really well, and be able to let the players explore so they can get in their own brand of trouble. Because that's exactly what I feel the game is. Go ahead, and get your players into a town and let them wander until they discover something. Maybe that's the theme park method, but let them discover their own way to lose hit points.
Bruce, let's reel you back in.
Okay.
Bear.
I never want to go to a town in Bruce's campaign ever. It sounds like a nightmare of genitalia. Okay, well, yeah, but he's right. Setting mastery is as important as system mastery, that's for sure. But I think ultimately this isn't what Connell, look, buddy, I love you like a play cousin. If I say anything, it's just to try and give you some support and some advice. It's not me trying to shit on you or tell you you're a bad Jim. You make money doing this. I don't. So clearly you're doing something right and I'm an idiot. But again, Kat, please know your audience, know who you're running the game for, and then more important than that, know why you're running the game. And that's probably the mistake you made. And I didn't see it. I don't know. I'm not part of this roundtable thing. It scares me now because at some point Bruce will run a game and there'll be struggle cuddle boxes and weird ice cream socials and all kinds of crazy shit going on.
You can actually experience that if you watch my live plays.
No, God, no. I want to sleep at night.
There's a reason why it says not made for fucking kids.
Yeah, or adults of a particular moral compass.
I cannot tell you how many times
And to think, Bear, I wanted to invite you back for superheroes.
Yeah, no. Thanks. No. I don't want to hear about Captain Bad Touch and the squadron of mean fighters. I don't want to know about this.
So, does anyone else have any additional questions they want to throw out there that maybe we haven't covered, or something that they want to cover with this? Go for it, Bear.
After Bear, I have a question.
Okay.
I've been diving into this world of all these interesting philosophies of role playing, and they all baffle me, and they all make me go, "Why do we need to do this? It's just a fucking game." I don't understand the pardon this expression autistic level of analysis people have to go into about role playing at this point in their hobby. Like, it's 50 years old, buddies. We figured it out a long time ago. You know, there's very little new ground to be broken. Everything we're doing is just something someone else has already done some time or made a game about, and there was a Jenga tower and whatever the case may be. But Railroad, Sandbox, Hex Crawl, story, narration, whatever it is you're playing, if you're having fun, your players are having fun, and they keep showing up for the game, keep doing that. Don't overanalyze it. And I don't know why imposter syndrome runs rampant through this hobby, but it really does. And I'll tell you right now, if you have imposter syndrome, you're doing something right. Because the people that don't have imposter syndrome are the ones who think they're always right, and as a result, don't know when they're wrong. And they don't know when they're making mistakes because in their mind, they're perfect. Whereas you're taking the time to go, geez, did I do that right? Maybe I should analyze it a bit. Maybe I should try something else. At least you're reflective of what you did, and your reflection isn't patting yourself on your back about how fucking awesome you are. That's why when you guys, GM Star Trek games, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm embarrassed by that, right? But not because it's a bad thing to say, but because personally myself, I'm embarrassed by that. Because I don't think I'm a great GM. I think I'm a GM that does something my players like. And that's all that matters to me at the end of the day. And that's all I'm going to say to you, Connell, is bye. Did Connell die? What happened to Connell?
I think his internet went out.
I don't know. But Connell and everybody else, as long as your players are having fun and you're having fun and everybody's hyped for the next game, keep going.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Perfect sense.
Yes.
Cool. And I refuse to be here for your superhero discussion. Oh my God. I'm going to fight someone on that.
I'm so sorry. Every time we discuss like my style of game, Bear just gets like it's. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna leave.
I have a question, Bruce. What are your feelings on the gore books? Outlaw of Gore, Tarnsman of Gore. Are you a big fan?
Never read them.
You maybe should. I think they'll be right up your alley.
I may have to.
Never mind the movies. The movies are bad, but I think the books might appeal to you.
Okay.
They have a certain level of adult thought that seems to permeate a lot of your descriptions, so it might be something worth checking out.
Okay. I mean, I know it sounds like I'm the DM bad touch, and I don't take offense to that because I would rather be DM bad touch than DM canned bullshit. We're going through Kill Bargle for the 7,000th time.
Never
and
killed them once.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want my players to enjoy themselves. I want my players to feel challenged, and I want my players to come back. So I do it in a way that seems to do me at least the most fun, where I have the game, I run the game in the way that I kind of see it, where we have fart jokes, we have Blazing Saddles references, we have the occasional political talk where'd that come from? And then we have, roll for initiative.
Okay. Connell's back. Hey, Connell, I was just saying what a great GM you are and how I'm impressed with everything you do, and I think you're a wonderful human being and people should just be a lot nicer to you. I lie. I didn't say any of that. What I said was make sure you're having fun. That's what matters most. And you clearly didn't have fun, did you?
What's fun?
I think I had to be completely honest. I love this world that I'm building, and it is very much still. It's not completely fleshed out, but it's fleshed out enough where I can run like simple stories from it. And I'm taking the game that I ran from you guys, and I'm gonna run it for another group of people. I'm not saying you guys did a horrible job. I'm not saying I did a horrible job. I just want, a different take on this game, see where it could have gone differently. The actions of what happened in this past game will have probably for the next time around, once I have everything more fleshed out. By the way, this is how the world works, the 6 truths, whatever. Everybody will have it in their box on Discord, whatever. There's going to be consequences from not being able to pull this hat trick off. Once again, not your guys' fault. It just is what it happened the way it happened. There's a lot of things I could have done better. I don't disagree with any of that. So I'm just building on to it. Did I have fun? I could have had fun. I really could have had fun with this. I have outside issues going on, and I'm not trying to use that as an excuse. I hate it when people use, oh, that is it. But I really got some shit going on in my life right now where I should be stepping away from the bar. But you tell me, you can't do this. I'm just going to step closer to the bar. I'm kind of stupid that way.
Do I have to say the line, Connell?
It's not because I'm alcoholic, because I really don't drink that much, which is
all right. You want some 80s quotes? I think this is early, and actually this is late 70s, but here you go. Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
And most times, and I agree with you. And play brother, cousin, whatever the term you use. I get play cousin. I feel the same way about with everybody that's here, except for Crafty. He's kind of weird, but I'm learning to love it. I shouldn't. Jade was right. I should have said, "Hey, Baron, do you mind if I bump you a month? I will try to get this more time on it to flush it out." But I figured it was my turn at the bat, and I can either run it or bite the pillow, and I refused to bite the pillow, so I just fucking ran it, and it was a disaster.
Okay, but like, this isn't the struggle session, okay? Chairman Mao isn't going to forgive you, and then you're going to pick up the little red book and become a good member of the party. Okay,
but I don't want to sing Kai.
Kai's a bully. I like Kai from everything I've seen, but he's a bully.
I'm playing.
I'm a bully?
I'm just trying to give him some rope. Come on, man.
No, it's okay. I didn't know I was a bully. I'm sorry.
You're not a bully.
You're a dominant. No, you're a dominant personality, just like myself and just like Bruce. We are very dominant personality types, and we can steamroll people when we get passionate about something, and that's fine. Connell is easy to steamroll because he has that good-natured mentality that doesn't at all slow down a steamroll because he won't fight back. He'll take the beating. He'll just accept it. Baron will just sit there and stare at you from everything I've been able to see from every time he's been on my streams. He'll just be like, yep, I can hear you talking, and say nothing. Bruce will fight back. TCG will say something completely random and weird to derail the conversation and make you go, what the fuck? But Jade and you, I don't know. I've never been on streams with you guys very much. I don't know much of your personality types or anything like that. So I'm just making a joke for Connell's sake. You're not a bully.
Okay. No. Hey, if I have a trait I didn't know, I want to know about it.
No. It was a joke. It was literally 100% just like a type moment. It wasn't a I psychoanalyze you, bully, sir. No. But that
Connell,
said, I have watched you guys shit kick the fuck out of Connell quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
Now, Connell, I will say that when I said, "Hey, you probably should have taken the time, to sort out your personal life," real life always comes first. And the only reason I was able to turn around a game in 48 hours over the summer is because I had quite literally already run the story once. I just was changing elements of it and re-themed it and reskinned it to be more Final Fantasy in nature than hard science fiction in nature. Instead of running like Gundam type mechs or hard suits, you guys were running around in the Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy themed mech armor, Magitech armor. Like, it was the same exact story that I ran for Free RPG Day. No difference in any way, shape, or form. It was, quite honestly, only the setting that had changed, the themed setting. That's all that I changed on it. And that's why I was able to turn around in 48 hours. So don't try to compare yourself me in that scenario if that's what you're thinking, because I know the way you think and some of the things that bother you. And one of those questions that you had bouncing around in there, I'm fairly certain was, if Jade can turn around and have something put together in 48 hours or less to run on camera, so can I. But there was a difference. I had already done it with an entirely different setting and theme. There was no difference in the story.
I could have grabbed. I could have, would have, should have. That's what it comes down to. Could have, would have, should have.
So,
well, and the thing is that this is not meant to be beating up on you or anything else like that. It's more along the lines of getting you to kind of think outside the box.
No,
that's all it was. That's all it is.
I don't enjoy world building. I enjoy playing in other people's games that like to world build, but it's not really my niche. I got other shit I got to think about 99% of the fucking time. I don't, but people that can world build and have a normal life, more fucking power to you. That's awesome. This is not me. This is, so give me my piece of paper, my script, as has been pointed out. I will change some things to make it more appropriate for the group of people I'm playing with, because the game I run for teenagers is not going to be the same game I run for adults, because somehow with adults it's going to be like, Animal House, and and I'm fine with that. Yes.
Run your game that's meant for teenagers for me. I'll appreciate it. Trust me, I will. I appreciate shonen anime. It's meant for young men. I appreciate that. I appreciate those kinds of stories. I appreciate those kinds of themes and those overtones. I like the powerful characters. I like the sometimes the overpowered character. Some of those settings and themes are what brought me to D&D or into the hobby to begin with, is, those powerful characters, those characters that have a story that, pervades not just what they do, what they are, and what they, are capable of, but also the world around them. It what they are affects the world around them just because of who they are. And as far as the stories you want to run, if you know a story that's geared towards young 20-somethings, I still feel like I'm young and 20 in some days. Some days I feel like I'm 80 years old, depending on if I ask my my bad knee or not. But run games
none of us would
and run
sorry.
stories you want to run.
Well, yeah, and I get that, and I completely agree with that. I kind of say that to people that I game with, is like, you're here, I want to know what you guys run, and I'll make it, to a certain degree, I'll make it work. Railroading is not a bad word. It is a word. It is a tool like everything else. A couple of nights ago on Mr. Max show, we were talking about AI art. It's a tool. It's a good tool, bad tool, whatever tool. It's a tool. To me, depending the table you have, the age frame you got, or even the story you want to tell, somehow, some way, some that way. Sometimes putting the choo-choo train in it, just even if it is a two-town run, is not a bad idea if it gets the story from A to B, when you're still having to worry from B through Z. I'm not saying the entire game should be that way. I don't want to make my entire world one great big Space Mountain from Walt Disney World, but I think it is a tool like everything else. This group, and I love this group dearly, we are a bunch of ADD retarded monkeys. We go in every fucking direction except for like two of us. Bear, you're not involved in this one as of yet.
No.
As of yet.
Oh no, no. Nope, you'll not drag my ass into it.
I will get to roll. But no. Kai has a way that he likes the game and run, and that's awesome. Baron, Bruce, Jade, and Crafty Gamer all have their particular strong points and where they run. And that's awesome. If I can figure out how to do a murder mystery involving poison, a hooker, and the president, I know I at least have two people playing with me. That would be Bruce and Kai, because there's poison, a mystery for Kai, and there's a hooker for Bruce.
I mean, at least you understand.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Not every DM is for every table. And I don't think that the word keyboarding is a bad, well, not keyboarding. Railroading is a bad word. I think there's just time and place. I don't. I prefer to look at a painting that was done by Botticelli or take one of the Renaissance masters over AI. But I'm not going to say the AI is a horrible piece of work either. It's two different mediums. They use two different tools.
The following is a joke and is only stated to be a joke, but if you get near a point, make it.
I was about done. I was about done. That was my point. That was it.
Dude, tools are tools. Railroading is a tool. It can be used in its ways to get things done. Sandboxing is a tool. Everything is a tool. But at the end of the day, it's a fucking game. I am so sick of galaxy brain analysis of role playing. I've had it up to fucking here. I'm done with it. It's elitism and tribalism, and it annoys the living shit out of me.
I get paid for it. There's the rub.
It's different. Hey, there we
I
go.
gotta look at everything from
For you. Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, any of those guys ring any bells for you?
Yes, I grew up in the 80s.
And
I went to college. Oh, I was trying to get an art degree, so history. So, anyways, I really am smart.
Connell, do you like the way you run games? Yes or no?
Yes.
Then you do have nothing to defend. You have nothing to apologize for, and their dissatisfaction is their own thing that they have to fucking deal with. That's it. Stop apologizing for doing what you like to do the way you like to do it.
Agreed.
Am I really out of hooch?
Jesus.
Wait, no. I was mistaken. I got whiskey.
Oh, God.
I like turtles.
I like pudding.
I like turtles.
I like pudding.
I love pudding.
I like pudding.
I like Skia.
There was
What I'm waiting. Sorry.
There was a question that
Go for
I
it.
kind of came back to. What kind of games I like? Can I answer this really quick, then, Crafty?
Yeah.
The kind of games I like is and this is going to sound really simple, really dumb. I like games where I can sit down at a table, roll some dice, and just go with whatever the fuck is going on. That's the type of gaming I like. That's the kind of gaming I want to be involved in.
Then
Run that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to run
Run
it.
that.
That's the type of games I want to be in.
Okay, so take a break from running games.
I like my electricity being
I did.
on.
Really? Oh, then I guess you got to make some compromises.
Oh, damn it.
Get some candles.
In
Full
French,
effect
we
candles,
have
also
an
heat.
expression, okay, savoir la peine, which means is it worth the effort? Is the pain that I'm going to get from doing this of value to me? And that's something you need to reflect on, my friend.
I
How many bottles has he got?
it kind of
The earlier statement about fat, drunk, and stupid. Now I'm the book.
No way to go through life, son.
you do have a resource that you could tap. You have a whole bunch of us in a private chat. If you want ideas to go, hey, I got for your game that you're running for kids, just poke us, and we'll. Some of us will have like a dump truck of ideas. We'll just dump it on you, and you can just sift through the trash and find the one thing that you like, and then cool. Once a week, hit us all up for ideas, and then we'll just throw shit at you.
Right. I will do that. To be what?
I've got a new favorite type of bad guy that I've had for about the past 15 years since I read Elder Evils, and the Worm That Walks is by one of my favorite bad guy templates out there. And I think that having something that's somewhat human and recognizable, but when you reveal it and you see what it is, and you just like your jaw goes slack and you're kind of morbidly disgusted. I think you should have that joy of popping that onto your players one of these days.
Well, as of right now, I'm doing. Oh, this was Baldwin, Illinois. Ooh. Anyways, right now I like to use mythology in the campaigns I'm running for the kids, and I'm running through a lot of the ancient Irish lore, and I'm trying to find a way to do the Cuchulainn and the raiding of the bull story from the mythology. So that's the one I'm working on right now, and so. But I will reach
Okay,
out.
I'm going to be, there is a bunch of resources that you can use, and one thing, and people are probably going to be, this is probably going to spark a craziness in the chat, and I don't care. But if you don't have anybody right then and there, and you have an idea, bounce it actually off of like Chat GPT. It's free. Go in, just say, "Give me ideas about this," and it'll go and just start giving you pinpoints, and then you can like take one of those out and then say, "Oh, give me more information about this that it gave you," and you can use that to kind of do some quick research, especially if you're having issues doing the research on your things. Because I know that a lot of people do that not only with, in order to get ideas, but they use like the picture ways to help, dig in and help them start to write lore and things along those lines. I'm
No
not one
idea
to
what
point.
you're talking about. Never would I
Yeah,
know.
I don't.
I would
I don't
certainly
know
never.
anyone who does that. No,
No.
never. And Janet, I'm not saying the AI can write his games, but it can give him that spark of
Can them.
inspiration.
You can write adventures for you. You can give you your beats. It can do
Have you
everything.
ever seen an AI try to write something like that?
Yes.
Someone showed me an unaltered version on Discord. I forgot which Discord now. It's like, I can't remember the exact verbiage. It's like, yeah, that okay. I could work with that as is, but it'll make little sense.
So again, you guys need to understand AI's come a long way in 6 months. And just like it doesn't tend to add 18 fingers to people anymore, it's gotten much better at having conversations with you about the type of game you're running or an adventure idea. And it gives you stuff. And then you can say, you know what, this is neat, but I want to change this, this, and this. So it changes it for you. It's actually a very useful writing tool in that sense of fleshing out an idea and getting ideas that aren't your own bounced, and then you can cultivate them and move them. Yeah, it couldn't write a fucking script a year ago. Now it can write a whole movie, and it's really disturbing how good it's gotten at it. But you still, as a human, are going to need to edit it all to make it have a little more humanity to it. But other than that, Connell, are you dead?
No.
Okay, because you were just like your head down, eyes closed. I'm like,
Like
okay.
I said, I'm mentally.
Okay, who lives close to Connell? Just really quick, because I know some of you guys know him. Cool. Can you make sure in the morning he's alive, please, and let us all
I'll
know?
be fine. It was
You
just
shut
out
up.
of the
You shut up. You're done talking, drunkie. Can you guys make sure? All right, I'm just going to be bouncer boy with him right now. Shush. Go stand in the corner and think about all the mistakes you made in life. Can someone please check in on him in the morning and make sure he's okay and let us know, because I'm now legitimately worried about this guy. Cool. Thank you.
With the exception of Crafting and myself, the rest of those 4 individuals live within 20 minutes of each other. Fair?
Cool.
This is about as regional as it gets for panels.
I mean, as far as AI tools go, like I'm even using AI to help me write my different races, or not races, but my different clans of peoples for my Bronze Era game or my setting. Like I've kind of hit the wall, and I'm kind of almost out of ideas for some of my Bronze Age tribes. And I'm like, this is the theme of the tribe. Like, this is kind of what they do, but I need more. So I run to an AI tool to, help give me more based on what I've already written. I'm like, I just plug it in. I'm like, do something with it. If it's something bad, I'm like, I like that, or I don't like that. Do it again. But with this, you've given me an idea, do it again with this. And it, regurgitates something back, and I'm like, yes or no. And I keep going. I keep refining it into the point where I'm like, yeah, passable. Now I'm going to take it and edit it how I want.
Exactly.
On Gatekeepers, when we did the werewolf, how to use werewolf correctly in your campaign, I'd had a hell of a fucking time for finding questions, and I'm like, Chat, what kind of questions would you ask if you were wanting to throw werewolves in your campaign or Pathfinder D&D? And I just list a bunch of other ones. And the questions I got from chat, whatever the fuck it's called, weren't that shabby. Actually, they were really good. So
when you
Technology
pay
is there.
for
Use it.
the latest version, $20 a month. It'll even make dungeon maps for you now. It's the ultimate lazy GM tool.
That's sexy as hell.
It is.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So we have come toward the end here, folks.
Well,
so
crafting had a question.
Oh yeah, crafting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, the question. Yeah, I had a couple things I had to say, but most of those were jokes. But the question I had earlier was, how often do you guys just, for lack of a better term, barf everything up out of nowhere? Like an excellent example is the barrels of liquid sun gems from my game. When Connell found that room, I had absolutely no idea what was in there. The concept of that stuff did not exist. Even the idea of it causing a war did not exist until I just blurted it all out for you guys.
Desperation is the mother of invention, sir.
I call those moments hold my beer moments. Because I'm about ready to do something really cool or really fucking stupid. Let's see how this works out. That's not really helping my cause for not sounding like an alcoholic, but that's a perfect example.
Honestly, so I mean, I don't really plan out the peripheral material at all. Whatever happens, happens. Like beyond the scope of the mission goal, the places to go, I don't know what's there until the players interact with it. I'll set the scene, sure. You know, I might even give like the different features that are in the scene. You know, what like stalagmites, stalactites, maybe a crate or a barrel over in that corner, and you know, perfectly still water. But until the players interact with the things, like I don't think I've really put additional thought into it. So, like, oh, what's in the barrel? I don't know. Let's find out what's in the barrel. Oh, hey, it's water. Or, oh, hey, what's in that box? Packed with straw and breakable things. Or, oh, hey, you found these little glass bulbs. So, you know, they're perfectly sealed units, and they have like an orange liquid inside. I don't know, what does it do? I have no fucking clue. What do you want to do with it? I'm going to chuck it across the room. Okay, cool. Roll for effect. Until they did that, I don't know what it was.
That's why I like fucking random tables. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting want to get
You
away
don't even
from
need random tables. Just pull it off the top of your head. Pull it out of your ass. Doesn't really matter.
Mm.
You know, random tables are a good tool for a game master who needs or who has to have an answer for something. You don't always need to have an answer, or like a pre-prepared answer. Like if you don't need to have a pre-prepared answer, whatever comes off the top of your head, guess what? That's what it is. And until the players interact with it, they won't know. You won't know. It'll seem like it's always been there.
I think that's more of a beneficial for house game versus store games, because I have to write on a piece of paper what everybody gets and where it came from and source shit. So yeah, it's
you know what I did during? Go ahead.
No, Connell. I have 100%. I have already written out the full TOE and everything. It's all no, fuck no. I just write shit down, man.
Do you know what I did for Free RPG Day the 3 times I ran that same story? Every time someone went in there and into the group and they went rummaging through the weapons locker, it was a completely different item than it was the previous game. Entirely.
I mean,
off the top of my head. When they started rummaging through the junkyard, like, oh, we're just looking through the junkyard. Okay, you're looking through the junkyard. You know, give me a percentile roll. Awesome. You found I don't know why this is here, but a booster rocket. Good job. What can the booster rocket do?
The game?
What? I mean, it was a mech. It was they were running around in mech suits.
Bad
So-
joke.
Well, there was an opportunity to pull a dirty magazine. I remember that was an option.
Yeah.
Anyways,
That was a table I made off the top of my head too.
Speaking of tables, there's a link in the chat. You dungeon masters, go over there and subscribe to this guy. This is Creighton Broadhurst. He is probably the biggest Chad of GMs out there. I'm so thankful that he has put off writing his magnum opus of 10 books, which would absolutely drop your panties and make you hard-nipped and wet waiting for his next one. Instead, he writes RPG books that are fucking useful. Here, he has a whole bunch of stuff. Along with this, he has links, talks about session indexes, talks about other posts. But this is a guy that runs Raging Swan Press. Raging Swan Press has a free setting called The Lonely Coast, which is probably the best idea shaker you've never read, if you've not read it. But this fellow, subscribe to this guy, let him give you emails, and your games will improve. You will be a thought-provoking Tyrannosaurus. There you go.
Just like me.
all right, Jesse.
Waiting for someone to do it.
Don't go.
When the joke's on the table, you got to take the joke. That's how we did it in the Navy SEALs. In the Baja, it's how I run my life.
And WW
I was in WWN with Nerd's Nerd. She didn't lose her legs there, that's for sure.
outside Putang.
It was pinned down outside Poontang. She got me out. It was quite nice. I went on to become the governor of Minnesota.
Oh, okay. I think we've kind of beaten this horse to death.
Connell's not a
Next
horse.
week-
He's a human being. Good God. Leave Connell alone.
No, he's not. He's a donkey.
We're going to get Connell set up with Stream Elements here pretty soon so he can get his account linked to it. And whenever somebody's like, you know what, Connell, you deserve a coffee and a biscotti, they can just wire him the money right then and there, and he can go cash that out and go get that coffee and a biscotti. Because that's what you fucking need, young man.
I'd rather it be
Well,
a
it's
beer.
literally starting to get to a point that every time we pick on Connell, we need to put like 5 cents into like a swear jar type thing. That's how often we do it now.
Da-dun, dun, da-dun.
Wait. No. See, when we want to pick on Connell, we'll just do something like that, and then it's all good because then he just gets removed, and then it's okay. Then he comes back and tells us how he really feels.
Somebody wants to throw up.
Connell,
Yeah.
I hope you get some good rest, man. You look like you need it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
next week we're going to be doing a little deep dive into a genre that some of us really enjoy, some of us not so much, but it's going to be a Western deep dive. So cowboys, Indians, and all kinds of fun stuff. Maybe even look at some of the Weird West type stuff too in that.
You know, that's kind of cool.
So
'cause I
definitely
got
make
this
sure-
brand new game called Cattle Punchers. Pickle Rick made it.
I mean, cowpunchers that
Yeah.
not yeah.
Basic Expert and Vic.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
So yeah, make sure you do join us for that. So we'll go around, see what everyone's got going on. What do you got going on this week?
Me? I have no clue yet. I meant to have an episode of Gatekeepers last night, but unfortunately, life has kicked me in the dick so hard that, I can't get everything that I want sorted out. When life turns that dick kicker up to 12, it's a really bad time. So I'm still trying to get stuff sorted out, and trying to come up with topics and ideas and questions to ask for gatekeepers. If you're not familiar with gatekeepers, we are a panel of game masters who typically we prefer to take a question, typically from an audience member or from people out in either YouTube or our Discord. When someone has, hey, I'm looking for advice on X, Y, and Z, that's what we actually really like to do is give 6 different game masters advice on X, Y, and Z. So if you have questions about specific things at your table or at another table you've seen, feel free to either post here on any one of these channels. I'll try to read through it, or tag me at Jade Duo, and I'll see if I can get it into one of our episodes and get some advice or some questions answered. And I try to be system agnostic.
All right. Crafting Gamer, what do you got coming up this week?
This week, I will be having my video on the final thoughts of the RDF manual for the Palladium Robotech game. And, well, I produced 2 videos today, but they're real brief, just talking about the February Gundam Challenge and my March of the Necron March painting challenge.
Hi. Anything coming up this week? I think we did the musings last week. Any thing that we can look forward to in Bruce's Discord from the brain of Kai?
This is an off week. I'm just writing whatever I feel like I write. My journal. And this is an off weekend. I'm sleeping. I'm going to rest for once. Insomnia sucks.
Bear. What do you
What?
got coming up this week?
Nothing. Thank Jesus.
What do you got coming up this week?
Nothing. Nada. Zero. I don't have anything until next Wednesday. It's perfect.
And that's your 4-color cafe.
Yeah, it's 4-color cafe is next Wednesday. We're gonna have a surprise. Can't tell you what it is yet. And then Friday I've got Paradise Station. Then I got the weekend off. And then Monday I've got Odyssey, and Tuesday Sojourner. And then Wednesday again for 4-color cafe. 31st we're gonna have Jim Johnson and Mike Dismuke from Modiphius from the Star Trek team on to talk about Star Trek D20 with us, or 2D20.
Nice. Yeah, I catched the latest episode of Odyssey and Sojourner this past week, and they were really good. I didn't think anything could top that first episode of Odyssey, but this week's episode, especially the cliffhanger. So definitely, if you get a chance, go back and watch that, guys. It's definitely one of those things that's like, wow.
Yeah, I'm an unpaid shill for Bear streams, and if you are lacking fun in your life and you don't have a group of good friends to sit and talk about Star Trek, then you really need to go over to Bear's channel and go subscribe to Bear, Gen X GM, and watch his Star Trek RPG. The live play is great. If you've got a trip, you got to make every week. There you go.
But I have so much more than Star Trek in my life.
Yeah, he's also got.
All that matters is Star Trek. Damn it!
You watch your step.
He's got Palladium Fantasy also.
Diving into that heavily, right? Actually,
and the game formerly known as Bastard Sword.
I really like the fact
that's
we were
severely on hold. Sorry, what was that, TCG?
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm actually watching Bear's Star Trek games partially to learn how to play Star Trek, because as soon as I got my hands on the PDF, it's like, oh, lovely black background with white lettering, literally migraine fuel.
Dude, there's a print-friendly PDF that's white background, black lettering.
Really?
Did Modiphius
Well, it came with my thing automatically, but I figured it just had was black and white.
Message me on Discord.
Didn't really think about how it was going to be set up.
Message me on
What do you
Discord.
got coming up this week?
His lunch, it looks like.
Who? Oh, me.
Donald.
Sorry, I was listening to these two go on, and I was waiting for my turn, trying to be respectful and all that fun stuff.
Who are you? What have you done with Connell?
Connell has fucking left the building about an hour ago, and now you're all stuck with me. What am I doing this weekend? This weekend, coming Saturday, I'll be doing a hopefully an 8-hour campaign with Bruce, who is the DM. I'm looking forward to getting back to that. I'm not having to freaking drive like anywhere ridiculously far. Then Sunday, me and whoever decides to bloody well show up will be talking about the movie 1980, somewhere in the 80s, Masters of the Universe. You know, the movie with the young
87.
87. All right. Well, as long as somebody knows.
Dolph Lundgren, Frank Langella.
Right. But there's also a young Courtney Cox in it, and a very young pilot, Paris from Voyager.
Oh, you fucking nerd. He actually first showed up in an episode of TNG as Nick Lacerno in Red Squad, and they wanted to bring him back for Voyager as Nick Lacerno, but they couldn't get the rights because they'd have to pay the writer of that episode a lot of money, so they made him a whole new character called Tom Paris.
Either way,
but I'm about more than Star Trek. I swear to God.
Have a drink on me.
All that matters is Star Trek.
So we're going to be talking about.
I don't want Star Trek. I want Starfleet battles.
Well, that's because you're a giant nerd.
I am a giant nerd.
Well, there you go. Have you ever heard of a role-playing game called Prime Directive?
Yeah. Yes. I've got it.
The original or GURPS or D20?
No, I had the Task Force game version.
Yeah. The Red Book?
Yeah.
The TriStat system?
Yes.
It's an amazing fucking game. I ran it for 3 years.
Great system.
I almost had to I was required to buy Module M for the Marine manual, so that way I could have all the ship floor plans. God, I want to run Modiphius Star Trek, but use Starfleet Battles floor plans for everything.
Starting this month, me and Mark from my channel will be doing a sideshow where we were reviewing the Dresden Files novel. We've already basically talked about the first 3. We'll be doing Summer Night. That's coming up as well. And that's about it, because that's all I really have time for anymore.
All right. Bruce.
Saturday. If you like high-level Pathfinder live plays, then you need to swing over to my channel at 12:30 Central Standard, because that's when I'm going to be trying to get everybody together in Discord so we can get together all at once. Come on, let's go, Let's go.
Open a window, Bruce. Jesus Christ. Get some air in there.
The paint fumes, they got to him.
Hold on. We've got a game that's been on hold for like 3 game days because of the holidays. So when I say I'm fiending for a game, it's not really against the Alpha group. I love the Alpha group. It's that I've had this other group for like 4 years. So I'm very happy to be going back to it, and I can't wait for that day. Saturday's going to be awesome. Then Sunday, me and Janet are gathering our party before we adventure forth into the wonderful viewing world of the McMartin trial with James Woods. Indictment, the McMartin trial, is a movie we're discussing on Monday night, but we show it off in Discord the day before. And we also watched 2 episodes of Star Trek Continues as a group, because Star Trek Continues is fucking awesome. And if you haven't watched Star Trek Continues, and what the fuck are you doing with your life? I mean, fuck. They got James Doohan's kid there playing Scotty. Most authentic Scotty impersonation I've ever seen.
They could be working, raising their children. There's lots of things they could be doing with their life, man.
Fuck them kids.
Where's all this hate come from, Bruce? Why are you so angry? Who touched you?
This kid's going to do nothing but just... I'm sorry.
Did Kai hurt you?
No.
I'm telling you, on Sundays, what matters is getting in Discord and hanging out with friends and having fart jokes, discussing important things like blazing saddles and why does evil Lynn smell like a bad blueberry muffin.
I'm sorry. So, and then Janet, we're gonna have Janet probably bring in one of her sisters, and nobody will get a word in edgewise, because when 2 of them are together, it's like 90 decibels of just a gibbering mouther going at it, arguing with itself. It's great.
And when there's three sisters together, it's just amazing. You'll never get a word in edgewise. We're hoping
Janet
we're
says
aiming high. I'm sorry, Janet. Love you. Monday night, we're doing the discussion on Indictment, the McMartin trial. I'm looking forward to this because it looks like a very serious film, and it does pair up with a lot of things that have happened lately. And we're not going to discuss that because this is Table Breakers. My name's Bruce. Thank you for being here tonight. And go ahead, Garrett.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. Time is a finite resource. We definitely thank you for taking a little bit of that resource and using it with us tonight. Make sure you join us next week at 7:30 Central. And I look forward to seeing everyone back. I'd like to also thank Bear, the Gen X GM, for joining us tonight. We definitely appreciate it. And why don't you go ahead and give us your sign off?
Oh, peace, love, and geek, man. Peace, love, geek. That's all we need. We'll be fine. Thanks for having me on.
Bye,
All you need
everybody.
is a bag of weed.